राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस विश्वगुरु एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस शील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्णा रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। विश्वगुरु शील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, The Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, Text number 10. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yat Tat Trigunam Avyaktam Yat Tat Trigunam Avyaktam Yat Tat Trigunam Avyaktam Nityam Sat Asat Atmakam Nityam Sadasadatmakam Nityam Sadasadatmakam Pradhanam Prakritim Prahuhu Pradhanam Prakritim Prahur Pradhanam Prakritim Prahur Avishesham Visheshavat Avishesham Visheshavat Avishesham Visheshavat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yatta Trigunam Avyaktam Nityam Sadasadatmakam Pradhanam Prakritim Prahur Avishesham Visheshavat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yatta Trigunam Avyaktam Nityam Sadasadatmakam Pradhanam Prakritim Prahur Avishesham Visheshavat. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Yat, now further, Tat, that, Trigunam, combination of the three modes, Avyaktam, unmanifested, Nityam, eternal, Sat Asat Atmakam, consisting of cause and effect. Pradhanam, the Pradhana. Prakritim, Prakriti. Prahuhu, they call. Avishesham, undifferentiated. Visheshavat, possessing differentiation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the unmanifested eternal combination of the three modes is the cause of the manifest state and is called Pradhana. It is called Prakriti when in the manifested stage of existence. Kindly repeat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the unmanifested eternal combination of the three modes is the cause of the manifest state and is called Pradhana. It is called Prakriti when in the manifested stage of existence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord points out material nature in its subtle stage, which is called a Pradhana, and He analyzes this Pradhana. The explanation of Pradhana and Prakriti is that Pradhana is the subtle, undifferentiated sum total of all material elements. Although they are undifferentiated, one can understand that the total material elements are contained therein. When the total material elements are manifested by the interaction of the three modes of material nature, the manifestation is called Prakriti. Impersonalists say that Brahman is without variegatedness and without differentiation. One may say that Pradhana is the Brahman stage, but actually the Brahman stage is not Pradhana. Pradhana is distinct from Brahman because in Brahman there is no existence of the material modes of nature. One may argue that the Mahatattva is also different from Pradhana because in the Mahatattva there are manifestations. The actual explanation of Pradhana, however, is given here. When the cause and effect are not clearly manifested, avyakta, the reaction of the total elements does not take place. And that stage of material nature is called Pradhana. Pradhana is not the time element because in the time element there are actions and reactions, creation and annihilation. Nor is it the jiva or marginal potency of living entities or designated conditioned living entities, because the designations of the living entities are not eternal. One adjective used in this connection is nitya, which indicates eternality. Therefore, the condition of material nature immediately previous to its manifestation is called Pradhana. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. Recently, the Finance Minister of India presented the budget for the country, which will become effective from April. And there were many talking points. The income tax, big rebate given to the people. Everyone was very happy. And the government also wants to make India a developed country. a vision. Within certain years, India has to become a developed country. And for that, they have to push this development, recognizing the importance of startups to contribute to the development of the nation. The finance minister announced a fund of funds of 10,000 crores. This fund will be meant mainly for funding eventually, it will be funding the various startup ventures. We all know how around 1998 is when, of course 1995, when two people in Stanford, Sergey Brin and what was the other guy? Two people. They got together and they brought an idea. Larry Page and Sergey Brin. They got together and they had an idea. In 1998, they got an investor interested in their concept, in their idea. They had an idea. They had a concept of how a search engine has to work in the internet. So they got an investor interested in their concept. In 1998, Silicon Valley investor, he invested in their company. Later on, we know how it became Google. It created history. The rest, as they say, is history. Around same time, 2000, there was a startup in India, kind of startup, the Akshay Patra, which also went on to become big, one of the biggest non-governmental school midday meal feeding program. It's the biggest in the world. So this is also a kind of startup. Then, of course, many other startups came. Facebook, Twitter, Tesla, all these things started as startups. Somebody had some concept, and then somebody came and did an investment. And with the investment, they were able to bring in all the resources. And then the final product came out, which became very popular. This is common everywhere you see. Actually, if you see, this process of bringing out some new product into the market always follows the same sequence. First, there is a concept or an idea in somebody's mind. Then, what happens? He, with some resources, with some funds, he is able to collect all the ingredients needed. And then the ingredients are processed, and finally, the output, the product comes out. In software, the ingredients may be the coding language, and you may have computers and all that kind of stuff. If you have a manufacturing industry, you need all kinds of components to be brought together. If you want to have, say, Foxconn is wanting to put a iPhone manufacturing unit in India, then they have an idea, we want to do this manufacturing in India. Then they come here, they gather land, get permissions, then they bring in all the chips and all the semiconductors and all that kind of stuff, and then they start manufacturing, and finally the product comes out. And so that's how today iPhones are getting exported from India. India used to import iPhones, now India is exporting iPhones. So this sequence you will see, whether it is a hard manufacturing industry, core, any of the, if you have hard products to be manufactured, or it is software, or anything you want to create in this material world, it follows this process, these stages. Forget about all these complicated things, even very simple things. In my childhood, I would go to my native place, and those were the days, 80s, 90s and all that. There was no internet. The communication was all through, we had very primitive methods of communication and all that. Even telephones, landline telephones were rare. Even STD booths had not come in the market. So if somebody is very rich, he would have a telephone in his house. So during the summer holidays, when the schools would close for summer holidays, I would go to my native place. My mother would take me there, leave me there. This guy will create trouble otherwise. with my grandparents, she would leave me and go. So, some days I would feel like I want to eat dosa. Then I'll tell my grandmother, I want to eat dosa. Then grandmother will say, okay. She will take rice, she will take urad dal, soak it. And then after it is soaked enough, she would call me, now come and grind it. So I'll sit and grind. How? We don't have mixer, we don't have mixie, we don't have the grinding machine. All those things were not there. They are still not coming to the market. So there is one big stone, the mortar, and there is one stone, this one, you have to put your hand on that and keep on, you have to grinding. And grinding. After some time, grandmother would come, she will check the consistency, and she will say, no, still not fine enough, continue grinding. And I have to continue grinding. Of course, I used to love doing it. That's why my grandmother also allowed me to do it. And then she would keep it overnight, ferment. Next day morning, she would make the dosa and she would feed me. Nowadays, of course, you have all kinds of gadgets, machines. Nowadays, people don't even make the maavu at home. You go to the shop, especially in Chennai, at the local teruvu, at the local junction, you go, there will be a shop, you pay 20 rupees or 10 rupees or whatever. Ready-made atta will be there, you bring and you make your dosa, idli, whatever you want, and you can eat. So even in this, you see, I get an idea, I want to eat dosa. So what I do, now idea has come. So what I need ingredients to make the dosa. So I go to the shop, or I take all the ingredients and grind it to make the maavu, the batter. Or I go to the shop and buy the batter. And so I've collected all the ingredients. Now process of production. Put it on the tawa, heat it, and then put the batter on it, and finally you get the finished product, dosa. And you look at the dosa, it neither looks like the raw rice, it doesn't look like the raw urad dal, it doesn't look like the water, it doesn't look like the fire on which it was baked, it doesn't look like the batter, it looks completely different. You cannot say that this batter only is converted into dosa, no. So I'll take the batter only and drink it. You will not get the experience of eating dosa by that. There's a certain process you have to follow. So even for a simple activity like you want to make breakfast, you want to make a dosa or idli or something, even there also, the same process is there. First, there is an idea that comes in the mind, then you collect the ingredients and process it, and then finally you have the finished product. Isn't it? So you see, from the simplest to the most complicated thing in this material world, whatever undergoes creation has to go through this sequence. Now the question arises, why is it like this? Nobody asked this question. We all accept it. We take it for granted. This is the way it is. That's all. Even scientists don't think, why is it like this in this sequence? Nobody thinks. So the answer is, why is it like this? Because this whole material universe is manufactured, is created by the Supreme Lord in this sequence. First, Krishna desires, he wills, let there be creation, like the concept that is there for a startup or for eating dosa or whatever you want. Any product that you want to manufacture is first created in the mind. So this material cosmos is also first generated, first created within the mind of Krishna. Krishna wills, let there be creation. So this is the subtle form of the creation. Just like when you want to create a startup, you have a concept. You don't have anything on the product is not there in front of you, but it is first generated in the mind. The concept comes in the mind first. So that's a subtle form of the product. The product has taken shape in your mind, but it's not manifested grossly. This is a subtle form of the product that you want to create. Similarly, when Krishna wills that let there be creation, then what happens? That subtle form of creation in the form of Krishna's will, that's called the subtle stage of creation, which is the pradhana. So you see, pradhana is very, very subtle. It is unmanifested. Why? Because it is still in the form of a concept or an idea in Krishna's mind. Of course, Krishna's idea, Krishna's concept and our thinking and conceptualizing is completely different. But I am trying to, Shri Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki jai. But just trying to give some parallel by which we can understand what is pradhana, what is mahatattva and all these kind of things. So now what happens is, I got the idea in my mind that I want dosa. So what I do, I go to the shop and I buy batter. Now batter, what all is there in the batter? There is rice, there is urad dal, there is water, there is salt. All these things are there. But can you differentiate? Can you separate out the salt, the rice, the urad dal? Can you separate out? You cannot separate out. It's all mixed up. So similarly, the moment Krishna wills let there be creation, what happens? The Mahatattva is created. The Mahatattva comes into existence. What is this Mahatattva? Mahatattva is the undifferentiated total matter. Like in the batter of dosa, there is rice also, there is urad dal also, salt also, water also, everything is there. But you cannot make out. You cannot differentiate. Similarly, earth, water, fire, air, space. These 5 gross elements. The 5 karmendriyas, our hands, legs, genitals, rectum, all these 5, our voice, these 5 working senses, and the 5 jnanendriyas, the 5 senses of knowledge, eyes, nose, tongue, ears, skin, all these things are in the Mahatattva in an undifferentiated form. This is called Mahatattva. And then the mind is also there in that. So these 11 things together in an undifferentiated state is within the Mahatattva. And within the Mahatattva is also 3 modes of material nature, again in an unmanifested state. Now into this Mahatattva, which is situated like a ball of undifferentiated matter, like you can take the example of the batter, like the batter is there, undifferentiated batter, like that this Mahatattva is situated. Where is it situated? It is situated in one corner of the vast spiritual sky. In Vaikuntha, there is this beautiful spiritual sky, and where all the planets are there, in the center of that is Goloka, where Krishna is situated along with all the Vrajavasis. Surrounding it is all these planets of Vaikuntha. And now all these planets are self-effulgent. The spiritual world is self-effulgent. All that effulgence is coming from Krishna. Now this effulgence doesn't stay limited within the planets. It spreads. So it spreads far and wide. And so, a very long distance away, you get the border of this spiritual world, this effulgence that is there. And at the border of that, just like you have Chennai city, it's a big city. And then you go, as you keep traveling through the city, you will come to the outskirts. So like that, on the outskirts of Vaikuntha, within which all the Vaikuntha planets and Goloka Vrindavan is situated, on the outskirts of this is the Viraja Nadi. So the Viraja Nadi is on the outskirts of the spiritual world. Now in the midst of that Viraja Nadi, which is neither material world, nor is it the spiritual world. It is the in-between position. There in the middle of that, the Mahatattva, in one corner of the spiritual sky, it is situated. And into that Mahatattva, Narayana expands as Mahavishnu, Karanodakasai Vishnu. So Karanodakasai Vishnu enters into that Mahatattva. And that Vishnu is carrying all the living entities who have material desires. They are all situated within his abdomen. Now this Mahavishnu, Karanodakasai Vishnu, along with all the living entities, enters into the Mahatattva, which is completely, it's just a lump. Now Krishna's entering is, don't think that, I gave the example of batter, so how will it look if I jump into the batter? Don't think like that. Vishnu's entering the Mahatattva is not like that. He doesn't get, if we jump into the batter, our whole body will get covered by batter. Then you have to go take bath and all those kind of things, and that batter will be useless. You cannot, make dosa out of that. But Vishnu's entering The Mahatattva is not like that. He doesn't become affected by the matter. He remains aloof. This is his transcendental nature. Now, when the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu, enters that Mahatattva, you have to understand Mahatattva is just undifferentiated matter. Matter is jada. It has neither consciousness nor is it active. It is simply lying like a dead piece of stone, right? It has no activity. Now, Mahavishnu, when he enters, he does not enter alone. He enters with all his energies. And so, Mahavishnu enters there and he lies down on Ananta, and Lakshmi Devi is massaging his lotus feet. So now Vishnu, according to the desire of Krishna, Krishna is wanting to create. That's why Vishnu has been expanded into. So Mahavishnu glances upon Lakshmi Devi. And when Mahavishnu glances upon Lakshmi Devi, what happens? Lakshmi Devi's expansion, Maya, she starts working. So this Maya Devi actually has two components. One component of Maya is the ingredient cause, the other is the efficient cause. What is this ingredient and efficient cause? The example Prabhupada gives is just like a mother. Mother is the ingredient and efficient cause of the child. How? When the embryo is developing within the womb of the mother is supplying all the ingredients by which the embryo is growing and sustaining. So for the whatever body the child takes or gets is obtained from the ingredients supplied by the mother. So the mother is the ingredient cause. And then when the time comes for the child to take birth, the mother actually gives birth to the child. She sets in motion the process by which the child comes out of the womb and gets a separate body and an existence. This is the efficient cause. The mother is the efficient cause. So, one is the ingredient. Suppose the embryo is within the womb of the mother. It's not enough. It will not take birth like that. The mother has to give birth to the child. Child has to come out of the womb. That is possible only when the mother actually puts the effort and the child comes out of the womb of the mother. So, the mother is the ingredient cause and the efficient cause. Meaning she supplies the ingredients and also gives the push, the drive by which the child birth takes place. Now, although the mother is the ingredient and efficient cause, without the father giving the seed, the mother cannot produce a child. So, Maya Shakti is like that. She is both the ingredient and efficient cause of the creation. So, the Pradhana, which has all the ingredients within it in a subtle form and which gets transformed into Mahatattva, which is a gross form, within which all the ingredients are there, is this Pradhana is actually the ingredient cause of Maya. And the efficient cause of Maya is called Maya Shakti herself. So the energy, Pradhana is subtle. Now for that energy, that subtle form of energy, the energetic Pradhana has to get converted into Mahatattva. Like rice is there, the udad dal is there, water is there. You have to mix it and you have to actually grind it to make the batter. So from Pradhana to come into the stage of Mahatattva, Maya has to put effort. So Maya Shakti is the efficient and the ingredient cause. But then for that Maya to act, that Maya gets the power to act from Vishnu, from Krishna. Otherwise that Maya cannot act. Just like unless the father gives the seed, the mother cannot produce a child, although she is capable. So similarly, Maya is capable of producing, but unless Vishnu glances upon her, she cannot produce. So the moment Vishnu glances, what happens? Maya Shakti starts the process of creation. She becomes the efficient cause. So when Mahavishnu glances upon Lakshmi Devi, and Lakshmi Devi in turn from her, that empowerment from Mahavishnu in the form of the glance is there, that gets transferred to Maya Devi, and then what happens? Maya Devi enters into that Mahattattva, and within the Mahattattva, she starts agitating the three modes of material nature. When the three modes of material nature are agitated, what happens? All the different kinds of variegated material manifestations come into being. All the universes are created and they start coming out of the pores of Mahavishnu. So just like you got the batter now. Now you take the batter. With the batter you can make idli, you can make dosa, and you can even invent other, you can make uttapam. So many different varieties of things you can make. But effectually, whether the dosa, uttapam, idli, what is it all? It is all basically the batter. And what is the batter? Batter is nothing but rice, urad dal, water. This is all. Rice, urad dal, water, and fire is there. With that you can create different kinds of eatables out of that batter. Similarly, this Mahatattva is undifferentiated. And now, when the three modes of material nature are differentiated and they start acting to make different manifestations, the universes, and within the universes, the planets, and within the planets, the different kinds of living entities, etc., etc. When all these things start manifesting, it is called Prakriti. So Mahatattva is an unmanifested, inactive state. And when the three modes of material nature get differentiated into three, the modes of material nature, the mode of material nature gets differentiated into three. The mode of Rajoguna, Tamoguna, and Sattoguna. Mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness. When they get differentiated, then immediately they start interacting with each other. As Prabhupada says, 3 into 3 becomes 9, 9 into 9, 81. Like that, it goes on multiplying. Innumerable varieties are manifested. So in the Mahatattva, when the three modes of material nature get separated, it becomes Prakriti. And then all the products start coming. So you see, first there is a concept of Krishna, then all the ingredients are collected, and then the production process happens, and then you have the final product, which is this material creation, all the manifestations of the varieties that you are seeing. Although this is the process of creation, now Kapiladeva is stating here in today's words, Yattat Trigunam Avyaktam Nityam Sadasada Atmakam. The unmanifested eternal combination of the three modes, which is Pradhana, is the cause of the manifest state, which is Prakriti. Pradhanam Prakritim Prahut. What is Pradhana? Trigunam Avyaktam. And Sadasad Atmakam is Prakriti. And Avishesham Visheshavat. It is called Prakriti when in the manifest state of existence. And the combination of the three modes is the cause of the manifest state. So, Avishesham Visheshavat. Actually, if you see, there is so much variety in this material manifestation. Isn't it? Birds, trees, animals, planets, mountains, oceans, seas, lakes. So much variety is there. The sun, the moon, the stars. But then, although so much variety is there, Kapiladeva is stating, Visheshavat, it appears to be variegated. It's not actually variegated. It appears to be variegated. Actually, it is Avishesham, without any varieties. Why is Kapiladeva stating this? Actually, if you look at the Srimad-Bhagavatam, the first canto, the first chapter, the first verse, the very beginning of the Bhagavatam, what does it say? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayad Itaratascharteshvabhijnah Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti Yat Surayah Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakokakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So this is how Vyasadeva begins Srimad-Bhagavatam, by offering his obeisances at the lotus feet of Vasudeva Krishna. Now he says, I offer my obeisances to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the Absolute Truth, Satyam Param, the Supreme Absolute Truth. I meditate upon him, I offer my obeisances to him. Who is Janmadyasya Yataha, who is the person from whom the process of creation, maintenance and dissolution is going on. And janmadyasya yaton vayad anvayad itaratascha. So both directly and indirectly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva, who is the source of the creation, maintenance and dissolution, is aware of everything that happens here. Directly, Krishna is aware what is happening. Krishna himself is aware, although he is in Goloka Vrindavan. Simultaneously, indirectly, through Paramatma also he is aware. So, directly and indirectly he is aware. Itarataha anvaya, both ways. Itaratas janmadyasya yitonvayad itaratas chartha arteshu swarat. And he is swarat, he is supremely independent. He is not controlled by the three modes of material nature, unlike all the other living entities. Tene Brahma Hrida. Brahma Hrida. Hrida Adikavaye. In the Adikavi refers to Brahma. So in the heart of Brahma, Adikavaye Hrida, Tene Brahma. So this Brahma refers to spiritual knowledge. So he transmitted spiritual knowledge to Brahma, Adikavi, through the heart. Tene Brahma Hrida ya Adikavaye Muhyanti at Surayaha. Even the Devatas are bewildered by the personality of Krishna. Even they cannot understand Krishna. That is he is the absolute truth. And then comes the interesting part. He says, Vyasadeva says, Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo amrisha. So, amrisha means what is not real. What is illusion? So, Tejo Vari Mrida. What is Tejo Vari Mrida? Teja means fire, Vari means water, Mrida means earth. Earth, water, fire. Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayaha. Their action and reaction, Trisargaha, through the action and reaction of the three modes of material nature, this combination of earth, water, fire, air and space, Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Trisargo. Trisargo Amrisha, by the Trisargo Vinimaya, by the reaction and reaction of the three modes of material nature, these gross elements of earth, water, fire, air, space, and the subtle elements of intelligence, false ego, mind, all these things, they, due to the interaction of the three modes of material nature, they manifest varieties, but actually it is all mrisha, it is illusion. It appears to be different varieties. Plant is different, animal is different, the mountain is different, the ocean is different, the lake is different, everything appears different. But in reality, what is it? It is all that Mahatattva only. It is all that Mahatattva only. You can make dosa, you can make uttapam, you can make idli, but what is it? In essence, it is only urad dal and rice. It is not that dosa is separate from idli. Idli is separate from uttapam. They are all completely different. No. All of them have the same source. They are all manifested from the same ingredient. But it appears different according to how you have mixed it and how you have processed it. Simple. Similarly, the three modes of material nature, by their interaction, all this, whatever is there in the Mahatattva, it combines in different proportions and you get varieties in this material world. So this is the process of creation. And because Vishnu, Krishna, he creates in this manner, so everything that is created within this creation undergoes the same sequence. Whether you take a startup, whether you take an automobile, whether you take a simple thing like making a breakfast, whatever you want to make, it has to undergo these sequence of activities. So, therefore, Kapila Deva is stating, Avishesham Visheshavat. Visheshavat, it appears like differentiated, different varieties are there, but actually it is not so. Why it is like that? Why it has to appear differentiated? Because this material creation is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, and in the spiritual world there are real varieties. If you see a plant in the spiritual world in Goloka, it is a plant. There are no three modes of material nature, there are no gross elements there, there is no earth, water, fire, etc. It is actually a plant. If there is a peacock, it is really a peacock. Here, what is a peacock? There is an Atma inside, and the body stays for some time. After that, it will get destroyed, over. Then it will go back to the fundamental elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space. Then where is the peacock? Gone. So that variety is actually Amrisha. It is an illusion. Visheshavat. It is not Vishesha, it is Avishesha. Actually, this material world, it is such a big illusion. We see so much varieties, but actually there is no variety here. All the varieties in the spiritual world. So therefore, we have to understand in reality what is the nature of this material world, and we should not get carried away by the variegatedness which is represented in this material creation and which is actually illusory and which has no factual existence. Fundamentally, everything is Mahatattva, which consists of the 5 gross elements, the 3 subtle elements, and their combinations in different proportions according to the agitation of the 3 modes of material nature is what is causing everything here. So, if we are able to see this reality, then we will not get carried away by the varieties which we see in the material world, and we will be able to be properly situated in our spiritual understanding, and by rendering devotional service to Krishna, by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Prabhupada's books, rendering service to our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, what happens? We will be able to realize these things. How the material world, actually there is no variety here, it's all illusion. And this realization is essential for us to go back to Godhead. If we remain captivated by the varieties which are there in this material world, then what will happen is we will remain stuck in this material manifestation. So therefore, it is important to understand the nature of this material creation, and therefore Kapila Deva is also the Bhagavatam, the Srimad-Bhagavatam is explaining all these things so that we understand the real nature of this material manifestation, so that we develop Vairagya, we become renounced from this, and we are able to go back to Godhead. So therefore, it is essential for a devotee to understand, although a devotee is interested in spiritual subject matter, he wants to do devotional service to Krishna, he wants to go back to Godhead, he is not interested in this material world, but still he has to understand the process of creation, how this creation is happening, how the varieties are coming to be manifested. All these understanding is essential. And even higher than this understanding is to be able to relate how such a wonderful illusory representation of varieties is created by Krishna. So that shows how great our Krishna is. It is not enough to know that God is great. You have to know how great is God. So therefore, Bhagavatam, you see, by explaining the process of creation, gives us an understanding of how great Krishna is. Just by his willing, such a wonderful illusion is created, which appears almost factual. Avishesham Visheshavat. It appears so factual, very difficult to distinguish. On our own endeavor, if we try to understand what is the real nature of this material creation, impossible. That is what all the scientists are doing. They are trying to find out what is the actual essence, what is the primary component of this material manifestation which is making it tick. They are going on discovering. Dalton stated that atom is the indivisible fundamental particle of matter. Then after a few years they found out there is a nucleus and there is a proton and there is an electron. Then they said, oh, the proton, electron, neutron, these are the indivisible particles. Then after that they found so many other things are also there. Some mesotrons, alpha particles, I don't know what all is there. And now they are saying these are the fundamental particles. Wait for a few more years, few more generations, then they will say no, something else they will discover. This will go on. They'll get bewildered. They'll not be able to find out. The Krishna's creation is like that. You will get bewildered. That is why it appears real. So, to be able to understand the real pradhana, mahatattva, which is all making this, which is all bringing about this manifestation, if we have to understand all these things, by our own endeavor it is not possible. With our own tiny intelligence it is not possible. Why? Because this intelligence that we have is also shared intelligence. When the mahatattva is created, within that mahatattva, Krishna also puts in a little bit of material consciousness and intelligence into that. And that undifferentiated consciousness and intelligence with the mahatattva, when the three modes of material nature start interacting and Prakriti gets formed with all these manifestations, then what happens is that original intelligence gets divided and it is given to different living entities according to their karma. Just like earth, water, fire, air, mind, intelligence, false ego, right? These are the 8 elements, 5 subtle and 3 subtle and 5 gross elements. Now, that in the mahatattva, the entire quantity of earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, false ego is there for this creation to take place. So when the varieties are manifested, little bit of earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence is taken and one squirrel is created. Little more of that taken and the body of some lion is created. Little more is taken, one mountain is created. We can understand this very easily, isn't it? From the total earth, water, fire, air, you create mountains, you create oceans, all of it is coming from that. Similarly, there is intelligence and there is consciousness also, material intelligence and consciousness. So everybody according to his karma and the body that he gets little intelligence and little consciousness. So that is why our consciousness is limited to our body and our intelligence is also limited. You can measure, you can do an IQ test and what all tests you want, you can do comprehensive ability, all those kinds of tests you can do and you can determine this much is the intelligence level of the person. It's limited. So, the total intelligence which was there, a fragment of that is invested in me. With that small fragment of intelligence, I am thinking I'll discover how the whole material manifestation happened. How is it possible? It's impossible. Therefore, the scientists will go on going in circles. They will never be able to come to the reality. So, if you want to know how actually the creation has happened, then you have to come to the Vedic scriptures. And what is given in the Vedic scriptures also, Sadasadatmakam, Pradhanam, Prakritim, Mahatattva, so many things. How do you understand all these things? That is possible only when a pure devotee like Prabhupada describes it. Therefore, Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam. So, jnana about how the material manifestation is created, what is the process, and how it has come into being, how all these varieties are created, these illusory varieties are created. If you have to know that also, tad vidhi pranipatena. First you have to approach a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, accept Prabhupada as our Diksha Guru, and that is called surrender. Tad vidhi pranipata. And then we have to pariprashna, we have to inquire from Prabhupada. You are my Diksha Guru now, please bless me with transcendental knowledge. And then when Prabhupada gives instructions, we follow those instructions, then all this, what is Mahatattva, what is Pradhana, what is Prakriti, what are the 3 modes of material nature, everything will become clear. Otherwise, we will remain confused. So, therefore, just like Devahuti was very, very fortunate to get Kardama Muni as her husband, who was a great exalted Vaishnava, and so therefore, she got the opportunity to get directly instructed by Kapila Deva, who is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why in today's verse it is stating, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. When Devahuti spoke, it said, Devahuti Ruvacha. When Brahma spoke, it said, Brahmo Vacha. When Narada Muni speaks, it says, Narado Vacha. And when Vyasadeva speaks, it says, Vyasa Uvacha. But Kapila Deva is speaking, it is saying Bhagavan Uvacha, because he is an incarnation, avatara of Krishna. So, Devahuti got that opportunity to be able to be instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kapila Muni, because she had taken shelter of the lotus feet of a great Vaishnava, Kardama Muni. So, similarly, and because of that, she is getting all this knowledge from Kapila Deva. So, the knowledge spoken by Krishna is there, Bhagavad Gita. If we take shelter of Prabhupada and then read Krishna's words, then we will be able to understand the knowledge. So therefore, to understand transcendental subject matter, it is inevitable that we have to take shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee. If we don't have if we are not surrendered unto the lotus feet of a pure devotee, it is impossible to gain transcendental knowledge. This is the fundamental understanding. So these are some of the things which we can understand from today's verse. So I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.